Back in May, we brought you the story of a group of troubled teenagers taking part in an early intervention program to get them back on the rails. The 3-month intensive program was set up by the Queensland Government and run by Kokoda Challenge. The program begins with a 10-day camp and ends with a final 5-day graduation camp. Our May stories went to air at the conclusion of the first camp. Now, 2 months later, reporter Alex Mann from Triple J's Hack program has returned to the camp for graduation day.
In the hills behind Queensland's Gold Coast, 14-year-old Kyle is having one last skate before heading off to boot camp. What kind of things are you escaping when you're on the skateboard?
Life. If you're having a bad time, you escape from your anger, your just problems. Mission and a half.
We first met Kyle on boot camp in April at the start of a 3-month early intervention program for troubled teens. His life was spiralling after his father's suicide 2 years ago.
Oh, finally.
Was that a traumatic experience?
Yeah, I saw him and just everything fell down from there. But me, my mum and my sister got through it, and we still remember him, but we're moving on in life and he'll never be forgotten.
After that 10-day camp experience, Kyle and his mum were optimistic.
When he first came back, he was brighter and happier in himself. I think it was because, you know, he had something to challenge him, and he was challenged on that camp.
Today, 2 months later, Kyle is at home getting ready for the final stage of the 3-month intensive program. It's a 5-day graduation camp in the bush.
4 pairs.
Kyle's mum says there have been some ups and downs.
When he came back, 3 or 4 weeks later, his attitude had changed again. He'd gone back to not caring, getting into trouble again at school.
Today, Kyle should be at school, but he's on suspension for the second time since the program began.
Yeah, not too little though.
Do you regret some of the things you've done to get on suspension this time?
Yeah. I should have just listened to the teacher, gone along with it. And yeah.
Let's go. Okay, let's go, guys.
Kyle was on camp with 4 other boys. There was Kurt, expelled from one school and on suspension from TAFE. How did you get suspended from TAFE?
Throwing tables and chairs at teachers.
Right, Jake? Yeah, it's fine. It's actually pretty cool.
14-year-old Jake, who grew up with his mother, rarely made it to school.
Doing well, buddy.
She'd only leave the house about once every 3 months, and she'll pretty much just go out the front door and walk straight back in. Because she smokes a lot of pot and drinks a lot, so I don't agree with it, but there's not much I can do with it. I've been trying to get her off it for a lot of years now, but she just has a really bad addiction, so she stays with it.
And Josh and another boy who were kicked off the first camp after they took mobile phones, alcohol and food from the camp office.
To them, it's like we've kind of betrayed them, really. So,
how does it feel? Did it feel like you betrayed them?
No. But I probably shouldn't have done
it. Here we are now at the final stage of camp.
Chocolate Milo.
But it's a very different group of campers that gathers in the bush for the graduation.
Mind over matter.
The 2 boys kicked off the first camp have been told not to come back, and Jake is nowhere to be seen. He's been rushed to hospital for urgent treatment for his diabetes.
That's hot.
Somebody else looking at this camp might look and see 2 of the 5 guys that originally started on this are here today. Can you understand why somebody might look at that and think this program isn't working?
You know, I made a commitment to all 5 boys at the beginning of the camp, and I stand by that commitment today. Those 2 boys are not here because it's not in their best interest to be here.
One of the remaining boys is Kurt, and he says he's learnt a lot on camp.
Well, the way I deal with anger is a tad better, but it's not fully like I want it to be, but yeah. Yeah.
What is it like, and what would you like it to be?
Well, I still swear at Grandma and Grandpa a little bit, but yeah. And when something doesn't go my way, I still get a little bit angry. But yeah, I want it to be like, if something doesn't go my way, I try and figure it out and try again, and hopefully it goes my way.
One of the boys missing from camp is Jake. He's recovering in his caravan at his grandmother's house in the Gold Coast hinterland after his blood sugar levels went through the roof. He spent 3 days in hospital. Jake's found it hard to put into practice what he's learnt on camp.
Having to actually do what you said you were going to do. Like if you're going to change your attitude towards certain people and behave better, which didn't work out so well for me.
After the first camp, Jake went back to school, but he didn't last one class. Throwing a bin against a wall, spitting in a teacher's face, he was suspended for 3 weeks. 2 days later, Jake was found drunk and unconscious in the neighbour's yard. Do you remember what happened that day?
I can't. It was because I was feeling really bad about what I did, and I've heard people say that I'm going to be an alcoholic, so I kind of decided why wait till later? Do it now,
But you're not still doing that, so what's changed in your mind to make you think that doing that's not a good idea?
The reason I'm not doing that is because the consequences that come afterwards really suck.
Jake hasn't been back to school since, but he's planning to enrol in a new one soon. He wants to take the lessons that he's learnt with him.
I've grown a little bit stronger in a lot of ways since I've came from both camps, and I've learned a lot just by myself. Like I've already said before, and it's like I always say, it's really good. It's actually awesome.
Of course there's going to be slip-ups, you know. Of course, the way that you've behaved for 14 years, when you're frustrated, when you're feeling low, when you're at a low point, you're not always going to go, oh, I'm going to do the perfect thing here. Those old habits are going to be expressed, but what's different is that they're not expressed as much, and when they are expressed, the young people have the tools and the ability to look back on that and go, that was not smart.
How you feeling?
Good.
Good.
Back on camp, the remaining boys are preparing for their graduation.
Just hope I don't piss my pants.
So you guys have been on a bit of a journey, and I'd like to encourage you when you're doing this activity, as you climb, just to think about that. Maybe think about the person you were when you first started, and the person that you want to be when you leave.
Oh, jeez!
This is almost over, this camp process. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good, but at the same time I'm going to miss it here. But
Well,
there's always that place out in the ring up in the top corner of Paradise where we all meet. That's our spot. We always have that spot.
What's that?
Alex Mann reporting.